ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Chapter 5 Vidura talks with Maitreya. Shri Sukuvacha द्वारिदुनज्जारुर्वः मैत्रेयमासीनमगाधबोधम् ह्यत्वोपसुच्चाच्युतभावसिद्धः पप्रच्छ सौशील्यगुणाभितृप्तः.
Sukadeva Goswami said, Vidura, the best amongst the Kuru dynasty, who was perfect in devotional service to the Lord, thus reached the source of the celestial Ganges river Haridwar, where Maitreya, the great fathomless learned sage of the world, was seated. Vidura, who was perfect in gentleness and satisfied in transcendence, inquired from him.
Vidura सुखाय कर्माणि करोति लोको न तैः सुखं वान्यदुपारमं वा विन्देत भूयस्तत एव दुःखं यदत्र युक्तं भगवन् वदेन्नः.
Vidura said, O great sage, everyone in this world engages in fruitive activities to attain happiness, but one finds neither satiation nor the mitigation of distress. On the contrary, one is only aggravated by such activities. Please therefore give us directions on how one should live for real happiness.
जनस्य कृष्ण विमुखस्य दैवात् अधर्मशीलस्य सुदुःखितस्य अनुग्रहेह चरन्ति नूनं भूतानि भव्यानि जनार्दनस्य.
O great Lord, great philanthropic souls travel on the earth on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to show compassion to the fallen souls who are averse to the sense of subordination to the Lord.
तत्साधुवर्यादिशवत्मशं नः सम्भ्राजितो भगवान् येन पुंसं हृदिस्थितो यच्छति भक्तिपूते ज्ञानं सतत्वादिगमं पुराणम्.
Therefore, O great sage, please give me instruction on the transcendental devotional service of the Lord, so that he who is situated in the heart of everyone can be pleased to impart from within knowledge of the absolute truth in terms of the ancient Vedic principles delivered only to those who are purified by the process of devotional service.
करोति कर्माणि कृतावतारो यान्यात्मतन्त्रो भगवान् त्रिदीशः यथा सज्जाग्र इदं निरीहः संस्थाप्य वृत्तिं जगतो विदत्ते.
O great sage, kindly narrate how the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is independent, desireless Lord of the three worlds, and the controller of all energies, accepts incarnations and creates the cosmic manifestation with perfectly arranged regulative principles for its maintenance.
यथा पुनः स्वे कायिदं निवेश्य सेते गुहायां सन्निवृत्तवृत्तिः योगेश्वरात् ईश्वर एक एतद् अनुप्रविष्टो बहुधा यथासीत्.
He lies down on his own heart, spread in the form of the sky, and thus placing the whole creation in that space. He expands himself into many living entities which are manifested as different species of life. He does not have to endeavor for his maintenance because he is the master of all mystic powers and proprietor of everything. Thus, he is distinct from the living entities.
क्रीडन् विदत्ते द्विजगोसुराणां क्षेमाय कर्माणि अवतारभेदैः मनो न तृप्यति शृणुतां नः सुश्लोकमौले शरितामृतानि.
You may narrate also about the auspicious characteristics of the Lord in his different incarnations for the welfare of the twice born, the cows, and the demigods. Our minds are never satisfied completely, although we continuously hear of his transcendental activities.
येस्तत्त्वभेदैः अधिलोकनादो लोकान् अलोकान् सह लोकपालान् अचिक्लपद्यत्रिः सर्वसत्त्व निकाय भेदो अधिकृतः प्रतीतः.
The Supreme King of all kings has created different planets and the places of habitation where living entities are situated in terms of the modes of nature and work. And he has created their different kings and rulers.
येन प्रजानम् उतात्मकर्म रूपाभिधानं च विदां व्यदत्तम् नारायणो विश्वसृगात्मयोनिः एतच्चनो वर्णय विप्रवर्य.
For chief among the Brahmanas, please also describe how Narayan, the creator of the universe and the self-sufficient Lord, has differently created the natures, activities, forms, futures, and names of the different living creatures.
परावरेशं भगवन् व्रतानि सुतानि मे व्यासमुखादभीक्षणम् अतृप्नं क्षुल्लसुखावहानं तेषामृते कृष्णकथामृतौकात्.
Oh my Lord, I have repeatedly heard about these higher and lower statuses of human society from the mouth of Vyasdeva, and I am satiated with all these lesser subject matters and their happiness. They have not satisfied me with the nectar of topics about Krishna.
कर्तृप्नुयातीर्थपदोभिधानान् सत्रेषु वः सूरिभिः युध्यमानान् यः कदनाडीं पुरुषस्य यातो भवप्रदं गेहरतिं चिनत्ति.
Who in human society can be satisfied without hearing sufficient talk of the Lord, whose lotus feet are the sum total of all the places of pilgrimage, and who is worshipped by the great sages and the devotees? Such topics can cut off one's bondage to family affection simply by entering the holes of one's ears.
मुनिर्विवक्षु भगवद्गुणानां सकापिते भारतम् आह कृष्णः यस्मिन् नृणां ग्राम्यसुखानुवादैः मतिर्गृहीतानु हरेः कथायाम्.
Your friend, the great sage Krishna Dwapayan Vyas has already described transcendental qualities of the Lord in his great work, the Mahabharata. But the whole idea is to draw the attention of the mass of the people to Krishna Katha, Bhagavad Gita, through their strong affinity for hearing mundane topics.
सा श्रद्धदानस्य विवर्धमाना विरक्तिमन्यत्र करोति पुंसः हरेः पदानुस्मृतिनिर्वृतस्य समस्तदुःखाप्यमासु धत्ते.
One who is anxious to engage constantly in hearing such topics, Krishna Katha gradually increases his indifference towards all other things. Such constant remembrance of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna by the devotee who has achieved transcendental bliss vanquishes all his miseries without delay.
तान् सोच्य सोच्चानविधोऽनुशोचे हरेः कथायां विमुखानघेन क्षिणोति देवो अनिमिषस्त्वयेषाम् आयुर्दावादिगतिस्मृतीनाम्.
O sage, persons who, because of their sinful activities, are averse to the topics of the transcendence and thus ignorant of the for purpose of the Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, are pitied by the pitiable. I also pity them because I see how the duration of life is spoiled by the eternal time while they involve themselves in presentations of philosophical speculation, theoretical ultimate goals of the life, and different modes of ritual.
तदस्य कौशर्वशर्म धातु हरेः कथामेव कथासु सारम् उद्धृत्य पुष्पेभ्य यवार्थबन्धो शिवाय नः कीर्तयतीर्थकीर्तेः.
O Maitreya, a friend of the distressed, the glories of the Supreme Lord can alone do good for people all over the world. Therefore, just as bees collect honey from flowers, kindly describe the essence of all topics, the topics of the Lord.
सविस्वजन्म स्थितिसंयमार्धे कृतावतारः प्रगृहीतशक्तिः चकार कर्माणि अतिपूरुषाणि यानीश्वरः कीर्तयतानि मह्यम्.
Kindly chant all those superhuman transcendental activities of the Supreme Controller, the personality of Godhead, who accepted incarnations fully equipped with all potency for the full manifestation and maintenance of the cosmic creation.
श्रीसुकउवाच स एवं भगवान् पृष्टः क्षत्रकौशारवो मुनिः पुंसां निःश्रेयसार्थेन तमाह बहुमानयन्.
Sukdev Goswami said, the great sage Maitreya Muni, after honoring Vidura very greatly, began to speak at Vidura's request for the greatest welfare of all people. Hare Krishna, all glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Very nice recitations. Prabhuji and Mataji just came in the last minute. I hope you all had a good day today. So today we'll be, unfortunately, Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu is very busy. So I've just stepped in at the last minute. So please forgive me. We'll be doing today chapter 5, verses 7 to 9. Jyoti Mataji, if it's okay, can you please share the verses and let me start the prayers?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasa Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai Shri Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so Can I have a volunteer who could read for me the first verse, if that's possible, please?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I can read if that's okay, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji Namratamaji. Thank you for stepping in. Can you read the verse also?
Yes,
And,
Mataji.
Thank you.
So text 7, yes, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Okay. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 3, Chapter 5, Text 7. Kritan Vidyate Dvijago Surana Shemaya Karmani Avtara Bhedaha Mano na tripyati api shrunavatam na susloka maulesha charitamritani. Translation. You may narrate also about the auspicious characteristics of the Lord in his different incarnations for the welfare of the twice born, the cows and the demigods. Our minds are never satisfied completely, although we continuously hear of his transcendental activities. Do you want me to read the purport?
Yes,
Mataji?
Mataji, please.
Okay. Purport. The Lord appears in this universe in different incarnations like Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, and Narsimha, and he manifests his different transcendental activities for the welfare of the twice born, the cows, and the demigods. The Lord is directly concerned with the twice born or civilized men. A civilized man is one who has taken his birth twice. A living entity takes birth in this mundane world due to the union of male and female. A human being is born due to the union of father and mother, but a civilized human being has another birth by contact with a spiritual master, who becomes the actual father. The father and mother of the material body are so also in one birth, and in the next birth, the father and mother may be a different couple. But the bona fide spiritual master, as the representative of the Lord, is the eternal Father because the spiritual master has a responsibility to lead the disciple to spiritual salvation, or the ultimate goal of life. Therefore, a civilized man must be born twice born, otherwise, he is no more than the lower animals. The cow is the most important animal for developing the human body to perfection. The body can be maintained by any kind of foodstuff, but cow's milk is particularly essential for developing the finer tissues of the human brain so that one can understand the intricacies of transcendental knowledge. A civilized man is expected to live on foodstuff comprising fruits, vegetables, grains, sugar, and milk. The bull helps in the agricultural process of producing grain, etc. And thus, in one sense, the bull is the father of humankind, whereas the cow is the mother, for she supplies milk to the human society. A civilized man is therefore expected to give all protection to the bulls and cows. The demigods, or the living entities who live in higher planets, are far superior to human beings, since they have better arrangements for living conditions. They live far more luxuriously than human beings, yet they are all the devotees of the Lord. Sorry. The Lord incarnates in a different form, such as those of a fish, a tortoise, a hog, and a combined lion and man, just to give protection to a civilized man, the cows, and the demigods, who are directly responsible for the regulative life of progressive self realization. The whole system of the material creation is planned so that the conditional souls may have the opportunity for self realization. One who takes advantage of such an arrangement is called a demigod or civilized man. The cow is meant to help maintain such a high standard of living. The Lord's pastimes for the protection of the twice born civilized men, the cows, and the demigods are all transcendental. A human being is inclined to hear good narrations and stories, and therefore there are so many books, magazines, and newspapers on the market to satisfy the interest of the developed soul. But the pleasure in such literature, after it is read once, becomes stale, and people do not take any interest in reading such literatures repeatedly. In fact, newspapers are read for less than half an hour and then thrown into the dustbins as rubbish. The case is similar with all the other mundane literatures. But the beauty of the transcendental literatures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam is that they never become old. They have been read in the world by civilized men for the last 5,000 years, and they have never become old. They are ever fresh to the learned scholars and devotees, and even by the daily repetition of the verses of the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, there is no satiation for devotees like Vidura. Vidura might have heard the pastimes of the Lord many, many times before he met Maitreya. But still he wanted the same narrations to be repeated because he was never saturated by hearing them. That is the transcendental nature of the Lord's glorious pastimes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you. Very well read. So, it is so, I mean, can you see like how they are all great souls over there, but they want to hear Lord's pastimes over and over again. And so the importance in this whole verse, in this whole verse translation is the twice born. So remember, the twice born is the most important word I found over there. And that is so necessary because until you have a spiritual master, you're just like any other, or until you're realized, until you realize that God is there. And the person who can really guide you into that is your spiritual master. So all of us have to thrive to see we have a spiritual master who is our real father in a way, who's going to guide us to a supreme father. So over here, Srila Prabhupada, glories to Srila Prabhupada, over here in the purport is explained that the Lord always appears, at the time when adharma becomes very, very much, and then to again get back dharma, to get back the religion into place. So God has to take different incarnations. And so the first incarnation, which this happens in every yuga. So the first incarnation was the Matsya Yuga. He took in the form of a fish. Now, that's a Matsya avatar. And why was that done? Because Brahma lost the Vedas. And then Vishnu had to take the form of a fish and to regain the to regain the Vedas from the sea. So basically, in this Matsya avatar, what happens when Brahma lost the Vedas? Obviously, this was stolen by the demon called Hayagriva. And where does this Hayagriva live? He lived in the bottom of the ocean. And so the best way to get that was Lord Vishnu took the incarnation of a fish. So how did he come into this? Satyavrata was a king, very pious king, and he was a real staunch devotee of Lord Vishnu. And once he was offering water, in the prayers, and then this fish comes into his hand, and then he says, oh my God, he just leaves it back into the ocean, into the river, where he was doing the prayers. But the fish again jumps back into the hand. So basically, he brings the fish in his kamandalu to home. And then overnight, the fish becomes bigger, and then he changes into a bigger bowl, and then it becomes bigger, and then it goes to a dearest in his garden, a pond, and then it becomes in the lake. And so basically, he understands that this is something unnatural, and this must be the Lord himself. And then obviously there'll be Bhavishyavani, saying that obviously he's come here, and he actually Satyavrata realizes, isn't it, that he's taken the form of a fish, and he says, like, obviously, the Lord says that in 7 days' time, the world will be plunged in water, great flood, of devastation, and there'll be a large boat which will come to you. So he says, like, collect all the important herbs, the plants, the seeds, trees, and all kinds of animals, and then take the 7 rishis and take them all with you into the boat. And then obviously Vasuki will come to help, when the boat rocks in the ocean, then Vasuki comes, and then obviously he gives he gives Satyavrata, King Satyavrata, the reassurance that I'll be there. And then obviously, as he said, in 7 days, the flood started, and then there was lots of storm and water and everything. And then obviously the Lord goes and he revives the Vedas. So in that way, he kills the demon Hayagriva and gets the Vedas. And the Vedas is very important because for us, Vedas, we have to follow our authentic scriptures. If you do not follow the authentic scriptures, then whatever you do, you're not following the dharma. You can have your own rules and regulations, but unless it is not according to the scriptures, you are not following the rules. So anybody can have their own rules, anybody can have their own book and write, but that is not what it is. So the scriptures are written from they are being there even before we were born and will be there even after we die. And so they have been like ever eternal. So they have been followed for many, many yugas, the rules and regulations. Only when you start violating, then the Lord comes in the form of either whatever form required for that particular time. So when the Vedas were lost, when they went into the water, so fish was the best form. And so therefore the Lord came in that form to revive the Vedas. And similarly, the next form which Lord took was the form of a tortoise. And over here, obviously, we have again the demigods and the asuras. And I think the Vashishta, I think one of the Munis will actually curse the devas because they must have misbehaved, and then he'll say you will lose your power, and they'll start losing the power. When they start losing the power, then asuras will be more powerful, and obviously Indra will lose the kingdom in that way. So they go to Lord Vishnu for help. When they go to Lord Vishnu for help, then he will say like, you have to become friends with the asuras and start churning the milk ocean. Now for churning the milk ocean, the ingredients which they wanted was the Mount Mandara. Mandara was the mountain which was used as the churning stick like. And then they asked Vasuki, the rope, to be as a rope. And but who would be on which side, So the rope, one end you have the head of the snake and the other one is the tail of the snake. So the Lord actually tells all the demigods that you be towards the head and they will and the asuras will be towards the tail. But as we know, they're a bit finicky asuras. They said, no, this is not auspicious. Okay, we'll be towards the head and they'll be towards the head. And then they start churning. And they start churning, what happens? The Mandara mountain cannot sustain. So it keeps on slipping. So when it keeps on slipping, then the Lord takes the form of a big turtle. And then on his back, he will support the Mount Mandara so that the asuras and the devas can start churning. And out of the churning, then lots of things come out. And there are like 14 important things which come out. And the reason why they go for that is that obviously the asuras will be lured because they will say when we churn, we will get this pot of nectar. And when we drink the nectar, then all of us will become immortal and that will be more strong. And because of that, the asuras will actually agree for churning. Then out of that, 14 important things come out of this Samudra Manthan. And Amrit obviously is the main. So let's go I'll just name the 14 ones, what they are. So you have Amrit, which comes out, and where the Lord will take the form of Mohini. And that's a different story, and how they will try to distribute the Amrit towards the Devas. And by the end, the Asuras will realize that, oh my God, we have been literally tricked. And so therefore, Rahu and Ketu will actually stand in the line in the form of a Devas, but then like the demigods. And then obviously they'll be recognized. And then Vishnu, when he realizes, then he will take his chakra and try to cut the head of Rahu. Then you have this other things which come out is that the seven-headed divine horse, which the sun god takes, he uses on his chariot, which is called Ucheshravas. And then you have there's stories regarding that also. That can be said another one more time. And then you have while they were churning, then you have this halahal poison which comes out, and that poison literally devours the whole world. And then again they go literally the churning stops, and then they will go again to Lord Vishnu for help, and he'll be advised to call Shiva, and Shiva will come and he will swallow the poison. But even though, so he will retain it in his throat, and therefore his throat becomes all blue and he's called Nilakantha. So he again saves the world from demise, and then we have then the churning will restart, and then Airavata comes, the elephant with the 4 tusks, and that's the elephant which Indra has. And then we have this important cow, the Kamadhenu, Surabhi, which is the wish-fulfilling cow, which comes out from there, from the Samudra Manthan, and then that wonderful Parijata tree, which is there in Indra's heaven. That's a divine tree that comes out, and then the moon, you will get the moon coming out from the churning of the ocean. And then we have the celestial beauties, Ramba and Urvashi also come out from the churning of the ocean. And Varuni, which is the goddess of water and wine. So Sura is basically wine. So I think because it was taken away by the gods, and that's where they are called as Suras in a way, the demigods. And Asura is the one who, I think Sura, just leave it there, I think I'm telling. So Varuni comes, the goddess of water and wine. And then we have the powerful bow, the Sharang, it comes out. Then Dhanvantri, the god of medicine. Again, Vishnu in the form of Dhanvantri comes out. And Lakshmi, goddess of wealth, she comes out. And then we have this Kaustubha Mani and the Panchajanya conch. So these are the 14 things which come out of the Kurma avatar incarnation. And then in the end, obviously, when the Amritas, that's the main thing, that the main jackpot was the pot of nectar of gold, nectar of the pot of nectar. And so over there, when the devas become very powerful and immortal, then obviously they regain back the kingdom, and again Dharma again comes back. Then the third one, again we will see like how Vara avatar, in Vara avatar again, what happens, you have earth, basically it's it goes into the earth, into the water, and then Varaha, a lord in the form of Varaha, will come and bring back the earth from the demon Hiranyaksha, and he kills the demon. So that is one avatar. Then we have Narasimha avatar, where Lord Prahlada will pray, and he from his father Hiranyakashipu, and then Lord comes in the form of half man and half lion, because Hiranyakashipu will ask for a vow from Brahma to be immortal, but then Brahma will say whoever is born will have to die, and therefore he has his different conditions in which obviously he will forget to say that half man, half lion, and he'll have lots of conditions put in where he thinks that nobody could kill him, but unfortunately his death had to come. So Lord Narasimha comes in the form of half man, half lion. So he's neither a man nor an animal, and he doesn't use any weapons. He uses his nails. He doesn't put him on the ground. He uses on his thigh. He puts him on his thigh. So he's neither on the earth nor in the sky, and neither in the daytime or in the nighttime. So at the time of dusk, the Lord Narasimha will come. And then also is neither inside or outside. So it'll be at the doorstep. So all these conditions are fulfilled, and then Lord Narasimha kills Hiranyakashipu. And then we also have then Parashurama avatar, and then you have Rama avatar, and then we have Balarama avatar, and then Buddha avatar, and then Kalki avatar. So all the avatars do come in every yugas. So in this, we can understand that how the Lord takes the different avatars of here. So what we see over here is the twice born thing, as we say. So when we are born, obviously we are so attached to our biological parents, which is of course very natural that all of us are attached. That's because we are conditioned. But over here, what is being said is that I mean, in this life you have one set of parents, but in the next life you have a different set of parents. So they change, but your spiritual father will not change, a spiritual master, and your eternal father will not change. So once you realize that, then you become twice born. So that is why everybody, we are in ISKCON, and we're trying ourselves to be initiated so that we can have a spiritual father, a spiritual master who can guide us and show us the path so that we can all go back to Godhead. So if even in this human life, if we do not take that opportunity, then I mean, we're same as animals or any other lower beings. And so all of us should, Hare Krishna. So all of us should take this advantage of this human life to be twice born. So to be realized, self-realized. All of us are obviously gathering over here, and we are doing something good in our lives. But how much of are we doing purposefully, or we are just doing it like passively we're listening, or actively we're trying to do things, is what we have to realize. We have to become really introspect. We should introspect inside and see what we are doing. Are we progressing, or are we just sailing like that? So we should, Hare Krishna. I think somebody is unmuted, but it's all right. So over here again, so importance is given again to the cow. So the cow is an important animal. For first of all, they say in cow there are 33,000 crores, the Tetis Koti, devatas are in the cow. How many ever hairs are there? More than the hairs, they are all the demigods thrive in the cow. That's why if somebody kills a cow, it's the biggest sin. And so in India, obviously, that was the whole belief. If somebody, when you go to places where they tie the cow, and suppose if anything happens, they have to do lots of tapasya, repentances, but nobody can ever get rid of the sin of killing a cow. It is a very, very big sin, because it is more than killing a human being, actually, because of the Tetis Koti, the demigods living in them. So they say the cow is the mother because it gives us milk, and that milk is very important because it nourishes a brain, and so that we can access the transcendental knowledge by understanding it, or by realizing what transcendental knowledge is. And that is why cow's milk is so very important. And also, as a human being, we're not supposed to be we're not meant to be actually eating meat. We are not meat eaters by nature. We are like vegetable or fruit eaters. But how time goes on, and how you have, obviously, if you have the demoniac things, then obviously we will become meat eaters. Otherwise, if you have the godly qualities, you have in chapter 4 the demoniac and the godly qualities. So we should strive to get the godly qualities and get rid of the demoniac qualities in us. So, and again, so try to, we are how to thrive on fruits, vegetables, grains, sugars, and milk. And how you get grains is by using the bull as a thing to plow the fields and get the grains. So we take bull as also as the father. So again, the difference between the different types of beings living in different planets, God has created us in such a way that there are so many 14 types of planets are there, in which depending upon the deeds, they get that sort of a body. So we are human beings, so we are in this earth, and obviously the way we live is quite different than how the demigods live. They live in a very luxurious life, because their deeds are much more better, the past deeds. And then we also have some beings who are much more worse than us, who don't even see sunlight, who are in the patal. So it all depends upon what sort of deeds we do, and depending upon that, which level we are either demoted or promoted. So what main thing is we have to take, utilize this time and look towards your goal, and see whether, like, how you have to study and pass your exams so that you can get a job. The similar way, our job is to go back to Godhead. And so our test, obviously, we have to realize that we are part and parcel of the Lord, and we need to go back to them. And so the moment we start realizing, then we should start working towards it and try to get ourselves detached from this materialistic thing, so that we can avail every time, every minute, every second in the service of the Lord, if you can, because obviously we are still bearing in mind we are still in this conditioned planet where we need things to do, where we need to work to earn money, so that's the currency at the moment to live and to buy things and to survive. So at the moment, I think the way how our life is that we have to do part and part for the time being, to such time you're comfortable that you don't need to work, and then you can start doing the devotional service fully. Or some people are very lucky, they can do only devotional service from the very beginning. So it all depends upon where you are and how much deep waters you are in. So, and the other thing is what we're trying, Srila Prabhupada tells in this purport is that our hearing, we have to use a hearing for ears for hearing good things and good narrations or good stories. And like example they're given, like how conditioned life is, when we just read a book. People write so many books, so many books they write, but how quickly read a book? In half an hour you finish the book and you don't read again. You become satisfied, But when we read these Vedic scriptures or they're always, always secretive. You can never understand them fully. So that is why you are never satisfied with them. So you want to read more and more. You're always curious. And that is why always Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, they always sound different every time you read, because there's a dynamic process. Your thinking is quite different. Your mood will be quite different when you hear them in the first time, and you understand only some part of it. And the second time when you read, even though you read the whole book, you think you understood, but you can't. Again, the second time when you read, it will be different. The third time you read, it will be different. It's a dynamic thing. So every time you read the Bhagavad Gita, your understanding is different, because you're in a different mood, you're in a different environment, you're in a different group association. So everything counts for it. And all that, because of all that, and new nuances always come into whenever we listen to these books. So that is where these are eternal books, and you never get satisfied with this. You never get saturated, rather. That's the other thing. Satiated, you say, you never get saturated. So you never get bored of them. So you have to we should avail this life to read the books and get the knowledge. And even see devotees like Vidura is such a, he's the Yamaraj, of his previous birth. And Maitreya Muni and all these people, even though they have heard that, they want to hear more and more and more and more. And so imagine, we should make this take this opportunity and read the Srimad Bhagavatam fully, and Bhagavad Gita and Chaitanya Charitamrita. They are really transcendental books, which will never be. How many times we read, we want to hear more and more. So let's go to the next verse, please. That's okay. Anybody, any volunteers?
Can I read, Mataji?
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, please.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Yes tattva beder adi lokanatho lokan alokan saha lokapalan achikla padyatra hi sarva sattva nikaya bhedodhikritah pratitah. Translation. The Supreme King of all kings has created different planets and places of habitation where living entities are situated in terms of the modes of nature and work, and he has created their different kings and rulers. Purport. Lord Krishna is the chief king of all kings, and he has created different planets for all kinds of living entity. Even on this planet, there are different places for inhabitation by different types of men. There are places like desert, islands, and valleys in mountainous countries, and in each of them there are different kinds of men born of different modes of nature according to their past deeds. There are people in the Arabian deserts and in the valleys of the Himalayan mountains, and the inhabitants of these two places differ from one another, just as the inhabitants of the Iceland also differ from them. Similarly, there are also different planets. The planets below the earth, down to the Patal planets, are full of various kinds of living beings. No planet is vacant, as wrongly imagined by the modern so called scientist. In Bhagavad Gita, we find it is said by the Lord that the living entities are sarvagata or present in every sphere of life. So, there is no doubt that on other planets there are also inhabitants like us, sometimes with greater intelligence and greater opulence. The living conditions for those of greater intelligence are more luxurious than on this earth. There are also planets where no sunlight reaches, and there are living must who entities who must live there due to their past deeds. All such plans for living condition are made by the Supreme Lord, and Vidur requested Maitreya to describe this for the sake of the further enlightenment. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna. Yeah, as we said in the previous one, obviously the supreme king of all kings is none other than Lord Krishna. And he's the main designer. He's the main architect, And he does his different universes, different planets, different places, and different types of people who live there. And depending upon their deeds, again, Lord Krishna distributes them accordingly, the intelligence, depending upon their past deeds. So even in this earth, planet Earth, we see every country is different, everybody behaves differently. It all depends upon the environment. And depending upon the environment and the genes and everything, so everybody is different. So the Sangha is very important. Like in this way, we can take is that depending, and we do not have any control about our previous past deeds. So only thing what we have control is of our present life. So the past deeds are there, that's fine, it's not in our hands. But what is in your hands now, you think you're in your hands, but obviously Krishna is there, the supreme controller. But at least in your knowledge, you know that you can do something. At least you cannot, you don't want to waste this time. And so by utilizing this time appropriately, at least you can start trying to reform them. And then by this, again, maybe your fate can be changed. So, so by realizing, so that all depends again with your type of people. So imagine, obviously now with Krishna consciousness, how it has traveled all over the world, all over of the earth planet. We are lucky that wherever we go, we try to search for a ISKCON temple or a devotee somewhere, because you're in this Sangha. Prior to coming to the Sangha, or prior to coming to ISKCON, imagine how we were. We will just go anywhere, just to go and see. People go everywhere to see the beauty of the earth, basically, or after coming to Krishna consciousness, when you know that all living beings are, God is there in all living beings and everything, then you feel like these earthly things are not much important. You will feel like, what, everything is the same. What, a mountain here and a mountain there, a little bit of water here, a little bit of trees there, flowers there. That makes it beautiful. But other than that, everything is the same. It doesn't create much interest. But because we are in the ISKCON movement, then what you try to search is where there's an ISKCON temple, where there's a devotee, where is this? And if maybe you would just go and try to make the world beautiful by bringing Harinam into that place, And wherever there is Harinam, then for us, our happiness and the beauty goes with it. Even though the background may be so beautiful, without the Lord, nothing is beautiful. Yeah. So over here, depending upon, again, the variety, how God creates all the different various types of people, various beings, various animals, all that depends upon our past deeds. So even though we do not know, like people are going to Mars, people are going to, there are lots of planets which in this universe, we know that whatever planets we have, we're trying still, human beings are trying to send whatever rockets and satellites to go to different planets to find out any other living beings are there. But we are not in that frequency to even find them, because our frequency do not match with them. That's why we are not able to see them. It does not mean that they're not there, just because we can't see them. So, but God has created every planet has some being or the other, and they can be much more. Obviously, we think that they're quite intelligent. The aliens, they're trying to find aliens who are intelligent, much more intelligent than us, or they can be people who are much more lesser intelligent than us. Again, so over here, Vidura is requesting Maitreya to please tell them more about the Lord's creation, so that all of us can relish the whole stories. So the crux of this one is that it's the Sangha over here. This is what we see, because in Arabian, when you go to Arabia or the desert, like, you have different types of people. So there, where the way how they dress themselves is different, and the way how people in the ice cold region dress themselves is different, and it all depends upon your environment. So over here, when I say environment, physically we're looking at all the natural things, but when we look at spiritually, what environment means is what is our Sangha. So our environment is our Sangha. It is like which quality of people you are with. If you're with the right Sangha, then your path is good. If you're with the wrong Sangha, then your path will be different. So you have to choose the right Sangha. That is more important. And God has given you that intelligence to choose the right Sangha, because God is within all of us and He will guide us every time. And as I said earlier before, that when we, in the beginning, all of us by nature, we are supposed to do right things. But then when we do the wrong things, obviously there will be bodily signs, and to tell us that we're not doing the right thing. The heart beats very fast, or you tremble, or you feel uneasy, you feel restless. So these are all the signs saying that that is not the right thing. Something is not right. So the moment you are with the right Sangha, you will feel more calm, more happy, just not even doing anything. You feel there's always that happiness, transcendental happiness, like, you're always cheerful, happy, always smiling, don't feel taxed at all, you don't feel anxiety. So all that will be in the right Sangha. So to recognize that, obviously we'll have to have that intelligence, and all that can be developed by hearing, to listening to God's stories, and also by regular chanting, which for us is the Maha Mantra, which we tend to do in this Kali Yuga and in this golden period of 10,000 years. We are fortunate that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, gave us this 16-word Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. By chanting this mantra, it brings us reformation and inside us, and change inside us, and gives us that knowledge to understand the right from the wrong. Hare Krishna. Let's go for the next one, please. Is there another volunteer? Is a very small one. Yena prajanamut atmakarman Rupa vidhanam yabhidam vyadhanta dhatta Narayano vishvasrigatmayoni retachano varnaya vipravarya. So, O chief amongst the Brahmanas, please also describe how Narayana, the creator of the universe and the self-sufficient Lord, has differently created the natures, activities, forms, features, and names of the different living creatures. Every living being is under the plan of his natural inclinations in terms of the modes of material nature. His work is manifested in terms of the nature of the three modes. His form and bodily features are designed according to his work, and his name is designated according to his bodily features. For example, the higher classes of men are white or shukla, and the lower classes of men are black. This division of white and black is in terms of one's white and black duties of life. pious acts leads one to take birth in a good and highly placed family, to become rich, to become learned, and to acquire beautiful bodily features. Impious acts lead one to become poor by parentage, to be always in want, to become a fool or illiterate, and to acquire ugly bodily features. Vidura requested Maitreya to explain these differences between all the living creatures made by Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So over here, how it's been explained, like how Narayana, the Lord, obviously the Lord he doesn't need anybody. How he has created this different environment, different activities, different forms and features. And everything is depending upon the Lord's will, It is how it is created under the plan of his natural inclination in the terms of mode. So everybody has a different material nature. So depending upon that mode and that nature, they will develop that type of a personality. So, and we know the three modes are there, like Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. And depending upon what sort of mode they are in, the form is created. And for example, they're saying if you have good pious activities, obviously they're white. It's not like white in skin color, but white in your soul, basically. So because we're conditioned, we always try to see like, oh, white skin and black skin, that's where all this thing has come. So a person can be as white as ever, but can have a black heart, So it doesn't mean that he's pure. So a person can be black as ever, but have a white heart. So what we have to look is that white and black color is the heart, not the external bodily features, which people always mistake. Like how we have all this, caste system has come because of who is Shudra and who is all the Varnashram you have. But people didn't realize that caste system was depending upon the work and not depending upon the place where you're born. Or a Brahmana can still be a Shudra, basically, not just because he's born born as a Brahmana's family, he doesn't become automatically a Brahmana. So all this color, the divisions is all because of your deeds, what you do. And so therefore, if you have very good previous pious deeds, then you are automatically placed in a better position. And then if you haven't done things properly in your past life, then we are in a less advantaged position. But the best thing is not to be born as an animal, because then animal you can't even differentiate. So there's no consciousness. So what we should realize is being born as a human being is even though you're born in a poor family or over here, God is trying to say like how the natures, it differs. Like if you had done something in the past, in a past life, then depending upon your good deeds, you're placed in a better position. But if you're not doing good things, then you'll be placed in a worse position. And so in this life, if you still don't do good things, then you'll be much more worse than what you're now. And if you do better things, then you may be in a better position in your next life. And example, you will see like some of the children, they're like prodigies, at the age of 5, 6, 7, they can say so many things. That's because of the previous life, what they have done. And then they have this intelligence where they gain that. But then if they start using it for materialistic deeds, then whatever they had done in the previous life, then it goes down, it is being wasted. So they should build up on it more and more to improve their life. So because as a human being or anybody, by the time a person is born and then comes out and then gets maturity to understand, so much of time is being wasted. And then after that, like a normal human being, I'm saying, but then if people who are intelligent enough and who are in a good environment, who have good parents, who have good family, then they at a very young child, as a very young age, or somebody from womb itself, when they're conceived in the womb itself, they can be already transformed, and so that is how as a human being people can plan the life, and people can plan the children's life if they have children with them, and how to bring goodness into them and change their environment. So over here, depending upon what you are, you get those. Some people are beautiful, some people are not so beautiful. I mean, obviously we can't, now we were in this woke culture, we can't even say ugly. If you say ugly, it's a bad word. So you have to say in a different way, not so beautiful, beautiful, good, not so good. So this is some type of a thing, but actually we should be able to say what is black and what is white. So over here, now more and more you will start learning from this chapter as we go on, depending upon different things of the Lord, the pastimes of the Lord. So I think I'll stop the class here and I'll open it up for any questions. Please forgive me for my mistakes, and please come and give your comments, and please fill in if for any gaps, please. Hare Krishna. All blessed to Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. My
Hare
Dhanvat
Krishna.
Pranam and glory to Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Mataji, as always, very nicely explained. Thank you, Mataji. Mataji, just one question I had was in the first verse 7, it said the civilized men about the twice born.
Yeah.
Is it saying that, when we get initiated by our Guru Maharaj, is that what they mean by the civilized
Yes,
men?
yes.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, that's what I understand. So what basically, I mean, for us, initiation, we are taking it now, but people, not everyone gets initiated, right? But obviously we are in this world, we're so much caught up in this world of conditioned life that because at least if you have a guru, yeah, then why we need guru is to basically make us realize about God. So, but some people don't need a guru to realize also, yeah. But this is what it means. So once you realize that God is there, then there's a new life for you.
Okay.
So then what it means that you are not just realizing it only, but realizing it and then working on it and acting, and then realizing and working towards it. That means, so this is physical, the biological body which you are born, or this thing is there, that's fine. But realizing that, yeah, what is my position in this world? And why did I come here, first of all? And the realizing that you're part and parcel of the Lord. And then you want to go back to the Lord. And how do I go back? And what are the things you need to do to go back? So that realization makes you born again. So this, we do it physically as twice born by initiation in a way, because you get a spiritual master over there, and spiritual master will guide you to go towards this thing. So in a way, yes, this is what I would take it, Mataji.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. I was just also reading, about last time when we were seeing, we said about sacrificing for a higher cause. Remember, we were talking about last time. That was on a Monday. It was a Sunday, sorry. Sacrificing for a higher cause. So I was just reading from this, magazine from Back to Godhead. And basically in that, there was a chapter written by Chaitanya Charana Dasa. And over here, this was describing about Kurukshetra, when Karna, so basically the war has already come into, now we are coming to the 14th day of the war, and Abhimanyu has already died, and other people have died, and lots of warriors had already been killed. And then Karna has become into this, because Duryodhana is really chastising him and saying that what you're not fighting very well, because Pandavas, obviously they're winning because of Krishna being on their side. And then so today Karna wanted to show that, yes, to Duryodhana, that yes, I'm going to kill the Pandavas and do more damage to them than anything else. And he goes off into this real spree of killing thing and into his form. And normally what happens, there are rules and regulations where by the sunset you're supposed to close the war, and then next day sunrise, then the war will start again. But Karna keeps on. He's literally going on fighting and killing Pandavas over there. And then he's literally instigating Arjuna to come and fight with him. But Krishna, he's really looking after Arjuna. He's the protector of Arjuna in a way, in the Pandavas. And he knows that what's going to happen today, because Karna today, if he fights with Arjuna, Arjuna will lose, and then Karna is going to kill Arjuna today. So how then Krishna, what he does is, before when they wanted to fight towards Karna, then he tries to deviate, sends Bhima to fight against him, and somehow the other he tries to avoid Karna and Arjuna facing each other. And then what happens is, but still Karna is really very, very fully, he's fully really energized, and he wants to kill everyone. So Krishna calls Bhima and asks Ghatotkach to come. So Ghatotkach will come, and he will then Krishna will send him towards Karna to fight. Obviously, it'll be then Duryodhana sees Ghatotkach is a son of Bhima, who is his mother is Hidimbi, and they are from a Rakshasa. They are the real demons, and they eat human beings and all. So basically, he's a Rakshasa. Obviously, so his form is very huge, and so seeing this, then Duryodhana sends him another Rakshasa, and then they fight, and he kills the other Rakshasa, but then he'll be going towards Karna. Now with Karna, he tries to obviously he has different forms, and Ghatotkach will have like 1,000 Ghatotkach come from. He'll try to make him illusioned, so that Karna can't recognize who the real Ghatotkach is. Then Karna takes out this special weapon called the Shakti weapon, which basically he has kept it to kill Arjuna, and only Krishna knows about it. So then somehow he fights, and then in the end, even though Karna didn't want to use the weapon, but he said he has to live today to actually fight Arjuna, because Ghatotkach was so powerful. He has already killed many of the Kauravas, and lots of Kauravas are dying. And so now Karna had to use the Shakti weapon, and with using the Shakti weapon, obviously Ghatotkach is killed. And then he dies, and then then he comes back, and then when Bhima hears that his son is dead, and he feels really very, very sad, and then Arjuna feels very sad, but Krishna is very happy, elated, and Arjuna couldn't understand as to why Krishna is so elated. But Krishna is elated because he knows that Karna is the only one who could have killed Arjuna, and because the Shakti weapon is used now, he has no other powerful weapon to kill Arjuna, and therefore Pandavas are going to win, and Yudhishthira is going to become the king, and so he becomes very happy. But over here, we can understand that for the higher cause, Ghatotkach was sacrificed. But then people will think like Ghatotkach was a demon, but he could have lived there. But no, but Ghatotkach was doing all because they were eating all human. Obviously he's a demon, so his qualities are not pious. So by dying in Kurukshetra and fighting for a bigger cause, Ghatotkach reassures, Krishna reassures Bhima and Arjuna, all that Ghatotkach has gone to a better destination now than what he was in this world. So he was sacrificing for a higher cause. Like that, we also should be doing something, sacrificing for a higher cause, So what is our higher cause is that so we become twice born. So today's, if you take, we become twice born. And that is our higher cause, so that we go back to Godhead. So this was a lovely story which I thought I wanted to tell today, because I just read it was quite nice. And I thought maybe I could just put it in this context. So Krishna knows everything. And
Very nice, Mataji. Very nice.
and that's why all of us, the way why we are in this form, and why we behaving like this way today and tomorrow or the day before. The more we are closer to Krishna, the more we will tend to reform, and the more we hear stories, and so we become more God realized. And then yes, all of us should yearn to be initiated. At least by that, at least you will be doing the chanting and doing, being in this association without thinking, just like as a reflex, you'll be doing it. So, Hare Krishna, sorry, thank you so much for listening, Any questions? Any other questions at all, Prabhuji? And any interesting things I can tell? There's still a couple of. So if not there, then maybe we should do the closing prayers. Is that okay, Mataji? And Prabhuji's?
Yes, Mataji, we can end the class. Thank you so much for a very nice class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Vancha
Kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta
Jai
Koti
Jai Srila
Vaishnavavrinda
Prabhupada.
ki
Jai.
jai. Ananta Koti
Srimad
Vaishnava.
Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. It's all because of Srila Prabhupada we're able to say and see things and understand the scriptures. All
And
praise
have,
to Srila Prabhupada.
and have this beautiful
Hare Krishna.
association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.